Okay, so we got a question here. How is Anarchious, my OC from my comic book Judgment Day, different from Black Lightning and Static? Well, if you didn't know my name is John, and I am the author of the comic book series Judgment Day. And I'm about to give you 5 ways Anarchious, my OC, is different from Static and Black Lightning. 1. Powers and how they manifested. 1. Let's start with the OG. Black Lightning got his powers from his suit originally now, and then it was retconned and he became a metahuman who has dominion over lightning. Static was forcibly introduced to a experimental drug that gave him his powers. I believe later they said that he already had the metagene and the chemicals made it come out. I'm not entirely sure. I may be misrecalling. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. Let's continue. And Anarchious, he was born with his powers. However, he's not exactly born with his powers. He doesn't get them until he's 5. Now, Anarchious, not only does he have dominion over electricity, he has dominion over the weather. So he is more like Storm than he is like Black Lightning and Static. However, where him and Storm differs, at one point Storm was worshipped as an African god. Now I can only assume she was worshipped as Oya. That is a Yoruban Orisha from the Yoruban pantheon. Now Oya is the divine spirit of winds, lightning, and violent storms. One can see how Storm was mistaken as to be Oya more than likely. But that's where Anarchious and Storm has a similarity, but also a differ. While Storm was worshipped as that, and that's not what she was, Anarchious is that. Now, Orishas are not gods, they are divine spirits. And in my story, mythologies, pantheons, 90% of them, ones you know and the ones you do not, are real. And Anarchious has ancestry with Oya and Shango. So that's what makes him different from the rest. Number 2. Static and Black Lightning are traditional superheroes. Now, Static, younger. Black Lightning, older. Both of these superheroes are for the most part, the main protagonists in their own stories. There is a task ahead of them, and they save. That's what superheroes do. Anarchious, however, is simply someone wanting to live, simply someone wanting to exist without fear, someone who just want to be accepted. But the circumstances of who he is will not allow him to. So he's a protagonist who was forcibly thrust into an adventure because of the circumstances of his birth. Number 3. Now this one is specifically for Static. Static has shown to mainly be more of a ranged fighter. He opts for range when using his powers, because who wouldn't want to reach out and touch a motherfucker from a distance? Well, Anarchious and Black Lightning are alike in the sense that they both like throwing hands. Anarchious wants the fade. He wants the smoke. He wants all of it. He prefers up close and personal. He want to put you to sleep. He want to mollywop you. He want to body bag you. He want to give you that sleepy time tea. Not only that, as time goes on, he learns different martial arts. And one particular that I thought was brilliant, considering his lineage that I just spoke of. Anybody know who TBE is? The best ever? Floyd Mayweather? Let's just say some of that fighting style, the Philly shell, shows up in the story. But that's later when he's training, because, a fighter that doesn't train isn't believable. A fighter who just knows how to fight is boring. I like my fighters to be flawed. Number 4. Now, I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they probably tuned out. Oh, another lightning character. Well, Anarchious has electricity powers, lightning powers, storm manipulation. But he also, in the early part of the story, discovers he has light energy manipulation. And later learns that he himself can generate light energy. You know, the same energy like from the sun. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna keep going. Not only that, because I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and Anarchious was originally inspired by Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. I'm a fan of hip hop and transformations. Anarchious has one called Ghost Face. What do you get when you cross Dragon Ball Z in hip hop, specifically Wu-Tang? Anarchious has a form called Ghost Face that progresses, and it gets increasingly more badass. You gotta see it. I can't wait to show you. Number 5, and not least. Now, I hope no one takes this as a dig or diss, but it's the truth. Black Lightning isn't even the biggest hero from his city, Metropolis. And while he's his own hero, he often gets connected to the Justice League, and he becomes second fiddle to the main roster. Now, Static doesn't really have that problem, but that's also been a problem in his upbringing since 93. He is the master of his own story. He's the main character for the most part of his story. But the time again, what happens is he ends up on teams like in Young Justice, which was cool. Not even a problem. He ends up in being a second fiddle. Anarchious is not that. He is not overshadowed by the chalky heroes, the Mayo heroes. And while I said he is not the hero, he is the hero of his own story. That's the best way I can explain it. But that being said, I've always liked Black Lightning. I've always liked Static Shock. And I've even got the whole first season of the new Static Shock that came out. I got to go ahead and get the second. I even got the entire omnibus from Milestone Media. But yes, that is the 5 ways Anarchious differs from Black Lightning and Static. Now, if you got any more questions, feel free to ask. I am an open book. I like talking about this story. I love talking about my comic book. If you want to try a dark urban fantasy comic, we got one right here. It's called Judgment Day. My main character, Anarchious, is from this comic book. That is on its 2nd issue, and we're working on the 3rd. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow. Hit that follow button. Tell me what you think about the character. I already know I'm going to get rude comments. If I get any. Because TikTok is TikTok. But I'll get some on YouTube. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.